listen to fall to the floor.
Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. This is kind of overdue. I did have a great time at the DC Pen Show, my second year now going there, and it's just been very busy since I got back, so I think I have some time and motivation and focus, so let's do this. There's other videos which I'm going to reference in this description on this one. Some of them are previous videos from other DC Pen shows, which I think are good and worth watching, and also some from the people that I've met at the show. And that's, that's one of the aspects of going to any type of, I don't know what you would call it, conference, user group. Obviously my IT background is coming through on those. But whenever you get a bunch of people together focused on something that they all are engaged with, passionately involved with, and one of the things that I became quite aware of is the business of fountain pens and pens, writing instruments, new, collectible, vintage, so that's where it's all at. So I'm going to start with literature and then move into accessories, and then at the end I'll show you the pens that I acquired at the show. So I wanted to start with just a shout out to those people that might be in these areas, and apologize, I'm trying to do something new with lighting, so we'll see how this works out. So there's a Colorado Pen Show, October 7th, 8th, and 9th. The Michigan Pen Club, October 14th and 15th. The Ohio Pen Show, November 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's a 4-day show, so that's pretty good. So go to a pen show if you can. Go to a local pen group if you can. That's really a great way of getting into the hobby and going from there. So as usual, a shout out to KC at Fountain Pen Day. He always has a bookmark for every show that he goes to. These are some new pen people that showed up at the show, their first time showing off their pens. Their website went live that Thursday. You meet other people at the show that you never knew about existed that are involved in pens, and this is a company that makes incredible works of art, which are also gallery priced. Let's see how this works. We're going to move over now and focus on more literature. This is a journal that I now joined the Black Pen Society, so I signed up for the whole kit. So I got the 5 previous issues, and hopefully when the 6th issue comes out, published 3 times a year. As you can see, this one starts out with the Black Pen Society. I just love to read, and these articles are great. The magazine is put together well. So I'm looking forward to that continuing relationship. And on that same vein, I picked up another collecting book, and I just find that everybody has different views on it, and it's great to see those views. And this is signed, and the author is the founder of the Black Pen Society, Paul Arano, and signed by him. This was one of his friends. Everybody down there is friends of friends of friends, and long-term relationships, and we're talking 30 plus years that they've been engaged in the different things around writing instruments. So this is a book that I've looked at every show I've gone to. I think it's an exclusive from the Fountain Pen Hospital in New York, so I finally decided I had enough money left over to buy it. The author is Spanish, and I love Conklins, as you know, and I just couldn't pass up this incredibly well done book. So that'll give me some long reading entertainment. And I also picked up this, and I probably paid more than I should have for it, but I saw it at a table, I liked it, I just wanted to get into it. And what's nice about it is this covers all the different things, and it really is interesting to see it from a Parker perspective. This is kind of like getting the shop manual for your car from the actual manufacturer of the car versus getting one from Edmunds or somebody else that does a third-party one. So it also has ball pens, pens, and pencils, but I just thought this was excellent. So when I ran into other people and I said I bought this, they all had one, because a lot of people in the industry have been in there for a long time, so they probably sold Parkers, Waterman, Schaefer's, and have a lot of that old factory-derived literature. So now we're going into my ink accessories, some parts for my vintage restoration. So I always support Carrie and Fountain Pen Day, so he had these nice little handmade journals, and he's using Tomo River paper and some new paper made from sugar cane. So I just think this is great. You know, I love little notebooks, and this is a great little way of carrying them around. Sailor had a table there, which I hadn't seen before, so you could write with all of their different nibs. It's a nice little thing put together, supported by Anderson's. And a new pen manufacturer who Fig Boot talked about it, Kobe Inks. And as I said, the Andersons are always there. They're a pleasure. They have a huge table. Brian and Lisa are very nice at working with you in what you might like in a pen or ink or accessory and paper. So I always, as you know, am into Canuba wax, so I found this 100% pure. As you can see, the oil and the emulsifiers are separated, so you need to make certain that's shook up before we use it. Took me a while to find the sacks that I wanted, and I bought all of the number 17s at Pendemonium. They only had 8 left, and I got 10 16s. So these I go through the most. I would say 80% of every pen I restore takes either a 16 or a 17. I always need J-bars, so I picked up some of those, and I also picked up some silicone bladders. I picked these up before. I still haven't used them, but I'm thinking when I get a pen that I think is worth that investment, I'll put a silicone bladder instead of latex. So inks. Something I had never seen before. This is now starting to become popular. Robert Oster signature brand inks, and I specialized in green inks at the show, so that's really what I wanted to get, is add to my green ink collection. So this is KYZ. It's the first ink of them that I have from the Andersons, or this could have been from Vanessa. Sorry that I get confused between them. Green number 5. So looks like they wrote with the ink on the label. This I wanted a Sailor ink, so I got this one, and I inked up one of the pens I bought at the show with it, and it's still been inked up with this color. I'm blown away. I really love it. I've never really seen cross ink before, so I picked up one of these, of course, in green, and this is from Anderson's. Beautiful bottle, interesting packaging. I have it in a pen that I bought that I got for Janet, so it's just amazing what they've done here. And it's archival ink, which is other interesting. And Brian made me aware of that. I was not aware of that before. I picked up a Kobe ink. I waited late in the show to pick it up, so most of them were already sold out. This is kind of like in the black gray variety. We'll do a review on some of these inks as I get motivated and get into using them more. And this is an ink I wanted to add. As you know, I was into sepia inks from the Philly show, so I never was able to pick up this one, so I have, and we'll take a look at that later on. So what pens did I get? I didn't go there with anything specific in mind that I wanted to get. I like to look around. I like to get a feel for the show and then determine what I'm going to do. There was one pen that I went there specifically to get, and I picked it up right away Friday morning from Brian Edison, the Menlo, in this kind of honeybee color. Obviously for Janet that's very appropriate, and it's inked with the cross green ink. I have to be clear, I'm very, very impressed with this pen. The manufacturing, the tolerances, the look, the color, the feel, I mean, it's perfect. I'll do a more in-depth review of that, and I love these little leather pouches that Brian's now selling. So it's a perfect way to keep the pen safe and secure. I always like going to the PCA auction on Saturday nights. I picked up 3 pens. So the Waterman 12 red hard rubber, the black chased maybe Todd, and the Carter ink set. So I don't have anything like this from Swan, maybe Todd, so that I thought was great. This thing should clean up very, very well. It's just nothing really wrong with it that a little tender care won't take care of, because it's all age. This was one I particularly wanted because I have an AA Waterman. So this is now the pen that's similar to that, but it's LE Waterman. So I may do a review of those two pens together. As you can see, there's a fair amount of oxidation there, but that's not unknown in a pen of that age. And I don't really have any real Carter pens, so I love this little Bakelite case here, you know, from the 30s. That's nicely done. And inside are two small pens. Again, unique colors. I think they'll clean up very well. Just something, you know, very, very different. Gold nibs on all of these. So these are pretty much as found conditions. So as I get more into them, I'll do a separate video on them. There's always a gentleman there, and I wish I knew his name or had his card, but I don't. But he always has tons of bags of parts and pens, and he has 2 tables set up, and he's very, very reasonable. So I added to my WASP collection. It's a very good condition. It may even be mint, I don't know. So that's something I'm very happy to find. And the Parker toothbrush pattern. I don't have anything in this, and I know I just bought a barrel, but it was very inexpensive. And it's complete with the lever and the pressure bar, so the push thing and the pressure bar. So I'm going to try to make my, I used to call them Franken pens, but Steve Parsons has said I should call them marriage pens, because it's a marriage of 2 parts, 2 different things. So I'm going to find a cap, a section, you know, I'll put this together into a working pen. I'm certain it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it will eventually. And I always like picking up something different in the inexpensive category, and of course I do like pilots, and this one I don't have. This is a crystal. I like the transparency. You know, it's a small pen, knockaround pen, but came with a converter, and it was extremely reasonably priced, very inexpensive. You know, push converter, which some people don't like, but hey, it fills the pen up and it works. So at the Nibsmith, Dan at the Nibsmith, he had these little interesting leather pouches for pens. I picked this one up. Not quite, it doesn't fit a 149, which is what it says it does, but you know, I'm certain this will work well with other pens that I have, and I just love it. And when he's gone of them, there won't be any more. So last but not least is one of the pens that I ended up in. Those of you that watch some of my videos on the Waterman safety pen that I brought down, this one, I traded it for this and some cash. It wasn't a 1-for-1 trade. So this is the pen. You may recognize it as a Delta. It is from 1999, and it's to commemorate the return of Hong Kong to China. So this is number 110 of 300. Originally these were made in a set of 3, so one to represent China, one to represent Hong Kong, and one to represent the UK. This brown hard rubber represents Hong Kong. So it's a little oxidized. It's a fact that it's a lever fill. It's hard rubber, interesting 2-tone Delta nib, and this is, I guess, almost vintage because it's 17 years old. So I just fell in love with this pen when I saw it and was able to make a nice trade from Sarge, who is an excellent pen dealer. He's in all the shows. So I think, you know, you may have, Stephen Brown got a classic pen that Sarge found for him. So if he's at most of the large pen shows, so if you do see him, he has exquisite pens. And he has a complete range. So if you ever have any desire to acquire a pen at a show, definitely give him a look up. And I'm certain you could find something. Affording it might be another question, but he is phenomenal, infinite amount of knowledge and beautiful pens. I said last but not least, but I had forgotten about this little beauty. So at the pen show was a Bexley booth, and Mr. Levy was there, the president of the company. I spent a lot of time talking with him. He talked about pens. You know, Bexley sells retail, so they don't really sell their retail line at the show. So this is a prototype. I think it's called Prometheus from what I can gather on the website. It's made out of cellulite. celluloid. Celluloid is that other thing you don't want. So this is celluloid, and when you smell the inside of the cap, it has a very, very strong distinctive odor that I've never had in another pen. So maybe because the celluloid in my older vintage pens has been aged enough so the odor has disappeared. So I just fell in love with this pen. It's a large size pen, but I've been writing with it now since I got back from the pen show. You know, inked up with my Sailor ink. Beautiful combination. I love this design and shape. You know, we talked about how you decide on a pen. I also had a long discussion with Brian Gray about pen design, and that's the types of things that are great at shows. I mean, you just no way to make up for that. It's another gentleman I met at the show. I almost bought a pen from Armin, but eventually I ended up buying the Delta pen from Hong Kong. But Armin had some prototype classic pens, which he was selling. I was very, very tempted, but they weren't exactly appealing to me like the Delta one. And like I say, you run into tons of different people. These guys were good at talking about repairs, and I gave this gentleman a link to my polishing pads that I use. These guys are great. They're hilarious. They have a beautiful collection, some unique stuff. And here's somebody who also was there from the UK. Again, some nice selection of pens. So that's kind of it for this summary of the DC Pen Show. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing some of the things that came back with me from the show. So if you get a chance, go to a show, enjoy it, meet some people. You don't have to buy anything. I'm certain you'll enjoy the conversations and increasing your knowledge of pens, and definitely seeing and handling pens that you may have only read about or heard about, but now you get a chance to see what people might be talking about. So go to pen shows, have fun. I'm going to go into depth on these as time goes on, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick review of my haul from the DC Pen Show 2016.